Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to be talking about achievement motivation theory. With inside of that we've got these two different behaviour types. We've got the NACK behaviours and the NAF behaviours. The theory was first proposed by Atkinson in 1964 as a way to try and break up these two clearly different personality types in their approach to competition. On one side of the equation we have people who approach competition with enthusiasm and intent, whereas on the other side, we've got people who actually prefer to avoid competition and they shy away from challenge. Therein we have two different types of personality. We have those who approach competitive situations and we have those who avoid competitive situations. Within sport, these two personalities can be seen very clearly when offered the chance to take the game-winning shot or penalty. Those who like to approach competition would volunteer for that opportunity, whereas those who want to avoid it or shy away from the challenge of it wouldn't put themselves in that situation. So let's look at this first personality type in a little bit more detail. Our NACK personality, or our approach behaviour. Well, what does NACK stand for? It's need to achieve. Here you can see 7 of the attributes a NACK person is likely to possess. Obviously, the more of them or less of them that they have, that determines where you would place them on a continuum of approach behaviour. Task persistence. This is when the person is unlikely to give up even though they failed the first or second time of trying something. They're going to put in the effort to make sure they put right what they've currently done wrong. The second, challenge seeking. This means the person is more likely to take on an opponent or seek out an opponent who's better than them. It's only by competing at this level that gives them the pride and the satisfaction of taking part in the sport. They tend to avoid the easier or lower level competitions that they know they could win easily. Number 3, risk taking. A NACK person is more likely to take on something with an element of danger or more inherent risk of them failing or injuring themselves. It's this extra level of commitment that they need to put in that gives them the real satisfaction of competing. Number 4, a NACK person is confident. They have belief that their current ability and capability is good enough to solve and overcome the challenges in any present situation. Number 5, internal attribution. NACK performers, come win or lose, will attribute the outcome to their own input and efforts. If they win, it's their fault. If they lose, it's their fault. They don't look to blame other people. The 6th characteristic, they welcome feedback and criticism. They're looking for an edge, they're looking for ways to improve. They know that they're not perfect, but they want to hear where they can improve so that they can be better next time. And lastly, number 7, NACK performers base their actions on how it will make them feel. What pride will they experience? What sense of accomplishment will they experience? They don't care about the opinions of others. They're not doing it to please their parents, their friends, their coach. They're performing in a way that will bring them the most level of satisfaction. So in contrast to the NACK personality, we have the NAF personality, the need to avoid failure, or in other terms, avoidance behaviours. NAF performers will typically display one or more of these 3 characteristics. The first one being that they give up easily. As soon as there is a slight sign of failure or them not achieving the outcome that they wanted going into the competition, they will start to ease off on their effort. They will begin to give up. They won't want to keep on trying and persisting to see if they can get something out of the outcome of the event. They would rather give up and stop trying completely. The second characteristic is that they don't invite feedback from more knowledgeable others. They feel that what they can currently do is their limit. So any sort of feedback or criticism is actually damaging to them because it's just telling them that they're not good enough. They don't have the belief that they can take that feedback and then improve their capabilities. It ties in quite nicely to the 2 different mindsets of growth mindset and fixed mindset. Our NAF performers are more fixed mindset orientated because they believe what they can currently do is already at their limit. So criticism and feedback is just going to harm their ego because they don't feel like they can actually improve on what they can currently do. And lastly, number 3, NAF performers like to take the easier options. They look for competitors that they've either beaten before or they are pretty confident that they can beat this time around because they don't want to run the risk of losing. They would rather an easier competition, an easier event which requires minimal effort but can produce the win at the end. A caveat to this though is that NAF performers might sometimes overstretch and find someone completely out of their leagues that no one expects them to beat. Because going into that competition, they're already protected by the communal belief that they will lose. So they've got no risk, they've got no downside. They are the complete underdog, so they don't mind putting themselves up against the best person ever, someone completely out of their league, because they won't harm their confidence if they do lose. So if we were to take into account need to achieve approach behaviours and need to avoid failure avoidance behaviours, what is achievement motivation? It's the person's drive to succeed minus their fear of failure. By working out this, we can then start to work out whereabouts someone might fit along this continuum. Are they more towards the extreme end of need to achieve, or are they more towards the extreme end of need to avoid failure? What we tend to see in elite level performers is that the majority are over here in the need to achieve group and less of them are over here on the need to avoid failure group. So what actually determines if a person is NAC or NAF? And what can we do to try and develop as many NAC behaviours as possible? In part 2, that's exactly what we go over. So click the link somewhere around this video and you can go and check that out for yourself. I'll see you in the next one.